Hello and welcome to the Schooner Simulation. I'm your host, Michael Wittman, and today's episode is sponsored by Raycon. Get 15% off today when you use code TPPN15 at checkout. The beginning of conference play starts off back home against the forever thorn in our side Kansas State Wildcats. For those that are new, we'll be watching this game play out in NCAA Football 14 with the AI on Heisman level difficulty and analyzing the gameplay footage. The updated rosters, courtesy of the Operation Sports Forum, ensure our teams are up to date, and the college football revamped modification makes them look their best. Check out links to both in the description below. To celebrate being back in Norman, we'll be putting the Sooners in the Rough Riders, and the Wildcats will sport their default away jerseys. The primetime 7 p.m. kickoff will be toasty, but the sun setting should keep things comfortable. The Schooner weather composite predicts a starting temperature of 90 degrees that could drop as low as 80 as the game goes on. Clear skies and a 14-mile-an-hour wind round off a great night for football. The OU running core comes out guns blazing, until a Dylan Gabriel fumble really kills the momentum. I loved seeing the ball in everyone's hands except for our QB. Eric Gray looked like he was trying to break records, and Drake Stoops on the jet sweep found some success, but Gabriel's inconsistency in the pocket was concerning. When his passes hit, they went for big yards, but the constant throwaways and underutilization of our receivers, and especially Marvin Mims, seems like a waste against K-State. Since our offense consisted of a ton of option plays, there were some points where Gabriel took off with it himself, and while we found some success there, I never felt easy watching it. When your central control tower is having issues, it's hard to run much effectively, even when your offensive line is doing a knockout job of keeping you protected. I'd also like to have a discussion with our special teams coach. Zach Schmidt has some work to do. The goose egg on our scoreboard wouldn't hatch until the middle of the fourth quarter when Marcus Major finds his only contribution to the game after being stopped at the line and fed dead-end screen passes for the majority of his touches. Overall, an underwhelming performance from our offense. After how they performed in Nebraska, I was excited to see how our defense would fare against the Wildcats. My expectations weren't exactly met. Our D-line really struggled with breaking through the K-State guards, and this let Adrian Martinez get some work done. Sacks would eventually come, but they were sandwiched between gains of 3 to 10 yards. On the other hand, Deuce Vaughn was squarely contained and had trouble generating breakout plays. That isn't to say he didn't find holes in our line, but minimizing this threat might have been a trade-off the linemen had to make. The secondary started off a little shaky, but pulled it together once they understood the game plan and really tested the Wildcat wideouts. Key Lawrence stood out for his good coverage with multiple deflections. It wouldn't take too long for the K-State offense to figure out the strategy either, and they adapted quickly enough. Too many third down conversions are successful for K-State, but when it came to clutch moments, Reggie Grimes and Jonah Laulu brought the wood. A last-second touchdown would push the Wildcats ahead with no response from the Sooners. Kansas State wins 13-10. Full disclosure here, I did run 2 sims beforehand using the same weather and specs, but the game crashed before it was finished. In the first, OU absolutely dominated on all fronts except for the passing game, where Dylan Gabriel's completion percentage was less than 50%. The defense might have also benefited from a similar situation in Adrian Martinez, but in that sim, we applied the pressure needed to enforce those bad decisions, and it looked amazing, resulting in a 23-3 point line going into the third quarter when it crashed. The final score was 42-10 in favor of the Wildcats. We won't talk about that. These teams looked eerily similar while playing against each other in all matchups I ran, with the same problems on passing and reliance on the run. Kansas State has spoiled our seasons in the past, and looking at the results, there is a good possibility they do it again this year. I don't know if it was first conference game jitters or what, but if our run game starts to lose efficacy, we need Gabriel to produce and our receivers to get open. I don't know where the AI's head was during the game, but the keys for victory here are not to be this rattled in the pocket and ensure we establish an effective running game. While we all love to see deep balls, this doesn't seem like a match we should be focusing on them if Gabriel's completions are anything to go by. Defensively, we need to look like we did against Nebraska. If we can't take over the backfield, then at least pressure Martinez into bad decisions and capitalize on them. Our secondary did a phenomenal job in the first sim of stunting options and allowing the D-line time to assert this pressure. Our discipline and execution are going to be paramount going into this matchup. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like and share it with any other OU fans that you may know. Then be sure to check out the rest of our channel for more Schooner-related content all season long.